Well, we'll get started and see if we get a few more people making their way in. Bonjour tout le monde, bienvenue. Welcome to our fourth session of Coaching for System and Teacher Change. I'm Jordan Sloan, and it's just me today. So you get just me to talk about building alliance strategies. Sharon is away. Just a reminder to those of you that came in to add the bracket with the F at the end of your name if you do want to be part of the breakout discussion. I'm just going to give you a heads up that I am supply teaching and I'm in a school today. So the background's a little different. You may get different noises. You may hear bells for recess at some point, but we're going to go with it. So welcome to session 4. And I just want to start with the land acknowledgement. Nous reconnaissons que Dyslexie Canada et IDEA Ontario dessert les citoyens sur tous les territoires traditionnels des Premières Nations, des Inuits et des Métis dans tout le Canada. Nous reconnaissons et apprécions profondément leur lien historique avec notre pays. Cette reconnaissance nous rappelle nos responsabilités envers nos relations et les terres ancestrales sur lesquelles nous apprenons, nous partageons et nous vivons. So just a quick reminder about our group norms. We're all coming to this journey from our own starting places. We all have different experiences and have experienced learning at our own pace and in our own way. And we're going to talk a little about that today. As we discuss this book and the coaching role, the implementation of the new curriculum with teachers and teaching and teams, please be mindful that everyone is coming to this from their own understanding and from a place of trying to improve their practice. Different ways to participate in this learning. So like you are here right now, participating in our live sessions bi-weekly on Mondays at 11:30, where we're digging into a chapter with a focus on discussion. And I have to tell you, I am very excited about today's because we are talking about alliance strategies, and I've been looking forward to this one from the very beginning. Also, as a reminder, you can take a look at those recordings. So if you're unable to join us or if you want to take another look, the recordings are available. We've also got the Literacy Coaching Network on Facebook, so you can join that, take part in discussions, post questions, and you can download or print or photocopy from the Brooks Publishing Download Hub for all those appendices that we talk about. So chapter 5, using alliance strategies, and it brings that concept of alliance into focus. So the relationship dynamic that is the foundation of all the work that occurs between us as the coach and our coachees, whether that's teachers or teams. Alliance is one of the 4 coaching practices that form the basis of all coaching sessions. It determines a team's willingness to engage in coaching, and it sometimes produces resistance and limits observable changes to teachers and teams. Given its importance, it's imperative that we really understand what alliance is and how to build and maintain it prior to really getting into that planning, conducting, reflecting on coaching cycles. We're looking for really positive coach and coachee alliances, and that doesn't happen on its own. We're looking to build and maintain alliance, and it's just as intentional to have that piece as any other coaching practice, and I would argue maybe even one of the more important pieces of that. So we're going to start by defining alliance, and we're going to talk about what is alliance and why it's important in coaching. So what strategies can you use to build and to maintain alliance with your coachees? The authors are really, really intentional, and they do talk about this in the chapter about using the word alliance over the word relationship. Alliance is the preferred term used by the helping professions to convey the idea that interpersonal dynamics influence the coachee outcomes. The word relationship, on the other hand, centers on the idea of connectedness, and it's really evident in how people behave and think and feel about each other. But alliance really conveys the idea that there's a choice in the matter. So the units or the people elect to come together, and the act of coming together is mutually advantageous and is based on a shared purpose. As we look into factors of alliance, and in chapter 4 and in last week's sessions, we learned that some concepts in coaching are multidimensional. Alliance really falls into this category because it's made up of 3 factors. The first one is interpersonal skills. And whoops, went too fast there. Interpersonal skills are communication skills such as words, body language, and even tone of voice. We're having coaches listen more than they talk in situations with a strong alliance. They ask clarifying and open-ended questions that focus on the conversations, and they tease out those critical implications and explicitly connect them to those concrete actions. Now we'll add this one in. The second factor is collaboration, which includes how we set goals with teachers and teams. So creating those partnerships with our coachees, how we co-construct agreements about our work together, prioritizing the expressed needs of the teacher or the team, and going out of our way to ask teachers and teams how they want to develop and then treat those needs. And finally, the third factor outlined in the book is expertise as it relates to the content area and the context, as well as the act of conducting coaching cycles. We want our coaches to know that we understand their day-to-day work and that we're equipped to help them grow professionally. We're going to have a little bit of a conversation about this in our second breakout room, because it doesn't mean that you need to know all things about everything, but it means that we are willing to bring expertise and resources and learning to the table and participate in that learning along with our coachees. So what does a trusting bond or rapport look like in coaching? We've got some boxes up here. They are reliable. They fulfill commitments, right? We want to make sure that people know that we are there for them and that we say, well, we're going to do something, we do it. We're making vulnerability acceptable by conveying that teachers and teams can safely make mistakes and feel uncertain about resolving a problem. We're going to avoid being overly critical or judgmental and instead show empathy and create a climate in which our coachees feel safe. So we're going to go into our first breakout room for about 10 minutes, and we're going to have breakout rooms of 4 so that you've got time to do some talking. And we're going to share what you can do as a coach to show those strong interpersonal skills, to take a collaborative coaching stance and to demonstrate expertise. And you're also going to discuss some potential challenges that you have in your role. All right, so before we unpack each of the alliance strategies and get into some of the conversation that you had, it's useful to clarify when you might find it useful to integrate them into your work. The short answer is that we use them throughout each phase. So phase 1, phase 2, and phase 3. That said, every strategy serves a purpose. So we're going to think a little bit about what the coachee might need and then use those strategies to connect to that need. In phase 1, we conduct a pre-meeting with the teachers or the team. So it's important to use our alliance strategies right there, right off the bat, to make sure that everyone is primed for the next 2 phases of the cycle. Next, we work directly in the classroom, so phase 2 with the team, and we continue to use our alliance strategies to ensure that teachers and teams are comfortable with the coaching, with working with us. And then in the third phase, we meet again and continue to use those alliance strategies to maintain a positive dynamic. I think of it a lot as those relationship strategies that we talk about with our students, right? Just taking that up to that coachee coach level. So as we move into each of those strategies, the first one is the interpersonal skills, and it's using effective communication. And these are communication strategies that apply to all 3 phases of the coaching cycle, and they really help to set that positive tone. So we're looking to listen more than we speak so that we can deepen our understanding of the work and convey the message that ideas and the insights that the team has are valued. We're going to ask questions to confirm that we understand and to deepen their thinking, to encourage self-reflection, and to narrow the focus of the session to the goals. As we work through, we're going to summarize what is being said to show that we understand and to help refocus the conversation, especially when ideas get really big or overly broad. And we're going to keep in mind that body language conveys a climate of safety, and it shows that you're mentally present in the current interaction. The second part of that interpersonal skill is building trust. And trust building needs to occur throughout the coaching cycle. To build trust, we need to align our words and actions. So doing what we say we're going to do, knowing that the coach, that we are reliable so that our coachees know that we're there, and also using that non-judgmental language. From there, we move into collaboration and the idea of setting goals based on needs. While you're building alliance strategies, avoid telling coachees what their goals should be without gathering more information. Instead, ask teachers or teams what they want to accomplish, and then come to an agreement about that goal. Offer a few suggestions that connect to areas of difficulty, and ask teachers or teams to select the goal from that resonates. And it may be obvious, but we want to work to set reasonable goals so that we can achieve a quick win, right? And in that quick win, that helps to show the value of coaching and to increase self-efficacy or the belief that they can achieve that goal. We're also looking to create partnerships based on equity to demonstrate that coaching is collaborative, that one partner doesn't hold more power or authority, that everyone is equally valued for their contributions, and that everyone can benefit from the partnership. We're also looking to take specific steps to create equitable partnerships, such as sharing our own professional struggles and reminding everyone of growth and success that we've experienced. It really makes a difference, I find, when I can share a story about myself, about something I've done, about something I've experienced, just to say that I am not, like we're going to talk next about having the expertise, but I'm still not the expert in the room. I'm still learning. I'm still trying things. I still stumble. And when I go and model things in classes, I stumble a lot. And that's just the way it goes. We're also looking to focus on the positive and honor the difficulties. I know it's challenging at times to walk into a room with a group of teachers. The first few minutes I find is always just giving some space to let the venting happen and then refocusing back and saying, yes, that's difficult, but let's focus on the positive and what we're here for and what we're going to work towards today. The third section of collaboration is setting parameters for partnership and agreeing on how coaches and coachees will work together as the final strategy for creating that collaborative coaching environment. We need to agree on what will transpire in a coaching session, how often and when the partners will work together, and what will be kept confidential and what can be shared with those outside of the partnership. One recommendation here is a written coaching agreement or a compact, and you can find a sample of that in the book. It's in figure 5.5, or if you look in Appendix N, you can find that written coaching agreement that you can use as an example. When it comes to confidentiality, there are guidelines around what information can be shared, especially when we're talking with leaders who are responsible for evaluation. I know there is some language in our union agreement that you might want to take a look at and refer to the guidelines to ensure that you're working within the proper confines in this situation. The third section is demonstrating expertise, conveying capacity in coaching. And this means that there's an established consistency and pattern to your coaching sessions that make sense. So taking time to plan, to reflect on your work, figure 5.6 in the book on page 71 or Appendix O, gives you a tool for planning, conducting, and reflecting on those coaching sessions. Taking the time for yourself when you walk away to reflect on what went well, what you could improve, and maybe even offering that to the people that were in the session to give you some feedback on how that went. And this is my favorite one to talk about here. Establishing content area capacity. So it's important to convey here to the coaches that you know what you're talking about and that you have a deep content knowledge in that area, in the area in which you coach. You should respond succinctly and clearly to their questions. You should be able to share information and share resources that are relevant but easy to understand and help the teacher or team gain access to critical information that they wouldn't necessarily have at their disposal. We have a little bit of flexibility and liberty in these coaching jobs a lot of the time. I know situations are a little bit different. Like I said, I'm supply teaching today, so the time isn't always what it should be. But we've got the time to go and dig a little deeper, to read more, to learn more, and to say, like these are things I might want to share with teachers, whereas maybe I have some teachers that might want to look at some of these other resources, and then maybe I have teachers where I may want to share other certain resources. So having that as well. In this case, we are looking for also your own personal learning and growth. So it's incredibly important here. What are you doing or what are you going to do to continue your own professional development? What are you doing to learn more about the new curriculum in detail so that you're able to guide teachers? What learning are you doing? What sessions are you attending? What books are you reading? And we're lucky in this community that we do have ONlit and that we have the Literacy and Learning Conference so that we are able to work together in situations like this. We are able to go online and we're able to recommend that to the teachers that we work with to learn more. The Strand B overview is a great one to look at, the curriculum overview, like there's some great stuff, as well as a resource bank that we can refer people to. So my question for you is, what are you doing or what do you want to do to continue your own professional learning? And then if you have time, I know that's a big one. That's probably going to take up most of your 10 minutes, but there is a case study, a scenario in there, and I will put it into the chat. It's a scenario and a couple of questions that go with that you can look through. And I'm going to paste that into the chat before we go in case that you do have time after your discussion, but I do feel like the professional learning question is a big one. Just trying to find the chat here. It disappeared off my screen. So there's the link to the scenario. So if you do have time after your discussion around what you're doing for your own professional growth and learning, there is a scenario in there. So we're going to send you off for 10 minutes and then come back for a quick wrap up. So we are going to wrap up. And, we often enter this line of work with some of the soft relational skills required for providing that just-in-time support that is needed by your teachers and teams, but there are fractures in the coach and coachee alliance. That's not uncommon. So simply sharing a congenial relationship with colleagues will likely be insufficient for addressing that. Alliance doesn't have to be intangible. It doesn't have to be that concept that defies logic. So even though building and maintaining alliances may not always be clear-cut work, every coach can create that strong foundation because it's really crucial for all the other work that comes next. And when we come back after the break, we are going to take a closer look at the other three components: the observing, the modeling, and the providing feedback. So I would like to wish you a very happy holiday, and I will see you January 22nd, where we're going to take a look at chapter 6. In the meantime, you can reach out to myself or you can reach out to Sharon, and have a great restful holiday. And, I'm going to be reading next steps, but maybe you want to be taking a look at something else. And I'll stay on for the next few minutes if you want to chat a little bit more. Have a great rest of your day.